All right. Hey, everybody. My name is Kenna Spear. I'm a freshman at Lindenwood, and I'm on the women's rugby team. I'm from California, but I chose Missouri. No, I'm just kidding. um, okay, so for my topic, I chose to write about privilege. My whole kind of like thesis or whatever, like the whole topic of my paper is that privilege exists in race, gender, sexuality, and more. So, why did I choose this topic? I think I chose this topic because it's something that I'm really passionate about. I think I write best when I'm writing about something that I'm passionate about. So when I was deciding what to write about, just because of all the movements going on right now and everything like that, I've been kind of thinking about learning more about privilege recently. So I thought that it'd be a great topic to talk about. Also, I think that privilege isn't talked about enough. And I think that, I don't know, I kind of just wanted to start a discussion, a friendly discussion, hopefully, just about my opinions and also a lot of statistics about privilege. So before I started writing my paper, I was like, oh, this is going to be so easy. Like, I already know so much about privilege. But after doing like research, I genuinely learned a lot more about it. Just because I don't think I've ever like really dug deep into resources like this before. For this topic specifically. So a few things I learned about this topic. So the definition of privilege is that it is a right or advantage gained by birth. So I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand, but that's just the straight out flat definition. I also learned a lot of statistics with real numbers showing how white privilege exists, specifically in relation to police killings, that I wouldn't have known if I didn't write this paper. I also learned that privilege does not just exist in race. Of course, I knew it existed, but I think it's only talked about in regards to race. But privilege exists in race, gender, sexual orientation, ability, religion, wealth, social class, and more. I also learned more about heterosexual privilege. I've never really looked into that or really thought about it, I guess, before writing this paper. But heterosexual individuals never have to explain their sexuality or fear losing family or friends due to their sexuality. Just writing this paper and learning the stats of, I have a stat here of the 7,120 hate crimes incidents reported in 2018, more than 1,300 or nearly 19% stemmed from anti-LGBTQ bias, according to the FBI's latest hate crime statistics report. So that this means that nearly 1 in 5 hate crimes surrounded by the biases. Sorry, I stuttered. This means that nearly 1 in 5 hate crimes are surrounded by the biases of homosexuality being wrong. So I learned about that. I didn't, like I said before, I didn't really like look into this before I talked about this paper. But those are some things that I learned. Next is opposition. So things that I found that kind of like went against my thesis. So surprisingly, or believe it or not, this was a lot harder to find. I found tons of websites and books and articles and literally news reports, statistics about how privilege exists, but I had to dig a lot deeper to find that privilege doesn't exist. The pretty much like one of the only things that I found, or the biggest thing that I found, I guess, the biggest counter argument to the whole topic of privilege was just people saying, well, it's not my fault, I was born privileged. I think this is irrelevant in a way, because the whole point of privilege is that it is a right or advantage given by birth. That's not the problem, that it's just given to you. The problem is that it's not talked about enough. It's not something that's ever really acknowledged. And just like with many other problems, nothing can be fixed until it's acknowledged. So that's kind of I tried really hard to find opposition, but that's one of the things I found is people saying just, why should I feel bad about being privileged? It's not something you should feel bad about. Like, you don't control it. You don't fight for privilege. It's just something that needs to be talked about a whole lot more. And then the last thing was just a summary. So I thought about what I wanted to kind of summarize. I think the best way to summarize my paper is by reading one of my paragraphs. Or kind of just skimming through it, not exactly reading it. But my first body paragraph, I wrote about white privilege. I wrote about white privilege. So I thought that would be a good way to end off my paper because it could be controversial, could be not, who knows. But this is what I wrote. So white privilege exists, and it has taken a whole movement to shine even the dimmest light on that truth. White privilege can be in many simple daily tasks, such as going to the store, filling out a job application, or getting pulled over for driving a little too fast. These scenarios can go two very different ways depending on the privilege someone has. A white person can go to the store and see that all hair products are displayed to exactly what they need. The products are catered towards them. A person of color will sometimes have no options at all catered towards them. If you're looking at a more serious example, you can look at filling out job applications. A white man named Kyle would never have to worry about writing his full name on a job application in fear of being racially profiled. One statistic that I found, which I really like, not a statistic, sorry, a quote that I found that I thought was really relevant. In one of John Greenberg's pieces, he talks about his experience with police as a white man in comparison to a black man's experience. This is the quote. In 1999, Amadou Diallo and the 41 bullets that police officers in plain clothes discharged at this unarmed black man with no criminal record taught me that not all share this privilege. Thousands of innocent black and brown people lose their lives every day because they don't experience white privilege. Tamir Rice, Jonathan Farrell, Rakia Boyd, Walter Scott, Eric Garner, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and so many more innocent people would still be here today if their skin was white. Privilege cannot be understood until it is acknowledged. So that's just kind of what I wanted to leave off my presentation with, is that privilege cannot be understood until it is acknowledged. And my persuasive essay is all about that privilege needs to be acknowledged a lot more. Thank you.